Welcome back, guys. Alex here. You already know me by now. Here with another weekly video. We've been slacking off a little bit, busy with lots of students. So something I want to cover, because the PTE exam always keeps changing, right? They always modify things, even though it might be minor things. They always add new questions. They always change marking, right? Even though it looks the same to you, they might change the sequence a little bit, but you guys don't know what happens behind the scenes. So what I want to cover today, I want to cover the 5 things, the 5 mistakes you're doing in each one of the sections. Speaking, writing, reading, and listening that used to work in the past. People used to get the marks, they used to get 90s and so on, but nowadays it doesn't work anymore. So what are the 5 mistakes that you may be making that don't actually help you in the exam? They actually make it worse and they affect your score in a negative way. And before you go any further, there's always going to be 1 or 2 haters on the internet, on YouTube saying, but Alex, my cousin, he gave the exam 3 years ago and he got 90, 90, 90, 90, and he did all of these things you're saying not to do and he still got the score. How is this possible? So if you're one of those people, just unsubscribe right now. Just go watch another channel. We're not here to answer negative comments. Now, for those of you guys that are actually interested, there's always exceptions. For example, some of the things I'm going to be covering affecting your reading score. If my reading fill in the blanks are really good, like really, really good, I have a good vocabulary, even though I may be messing up other questions that affect the reading section, at the end of the day, I can make it up in another way. So look, somebody might still be passing the exam, even though they make some of these mistakes, but that means they're extremely good in one of the other sections. So I want to talk to people whose average level of English, who's below average level of English. Your English is not amazing. You didn't study PhD, you didn't study masters, you didn't speak English your whole life. So it's for those people, and you're trying to kind of jump over a level you're trying to achieve. So the first thing, in the speaking section, what doesn't work anymore? So you guys know on the exam you have this indicator, right? That represents 40 seconds. So especially for describe image, especially for retell lecture, people used to do this, okay? They used to talk only for 25 seconds. So if you got this bar, they would just talk for 25 seconds. They wouldn't go all the way till the end. And in the past, it didn't really matter. As long as you were fluent and you're talking for 25 seconds, or you're talking for 30 seconds, or you're talking for 35 seconds, it didn't make a difference. So nowadays, just talking for 25 seconds and clicking next is not going to give you full marks. And actually, some people used to do this. They used to say, I have a beautiful image in front of me. I got 25 seconds to speak about this image. I have to speak about this image fluently for 40 seconds, blah, 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 blah. And they used to basically read like the instructions of the picture. So guys, use some common sense. I know maybe to your friends, to somebody in a WhatsApp group, it used to work a while ago. But Pearson, they're not stupid. They're getting smarter every year. Their AI software is getting smarter every year. So if you're saying things, this is a beautiful image, I got 25 seconds to talk about it, I have to speak fluently for 40 seconds, and this image is very informative and very beautiful, right? You're not using the content from the picture. Check the scoring guide. They mark you based on the content. And again, I know some of you are thinking, oh, Alex, but I use this format on my past exams and I'm still getting 19 speaking. Okay, maybe you're using that format in the past, maybe it's not going to work anymore. Or maybe you're doing this in describe image, but your retell lecture, your repeat sentences are really, really good and it's not really affecting that score that much. But for the average person whose English is so-so and you're doing this, use some common sense, right? Make a proper format, or even ask your friends for a format, but something that makes sense, something that's relevant, where you're using a lot of content from the picture. For the writing section, so 2 things. First one, summarize written text. You guys already know this is what it looks like. You get the 1 long paragraph and you have to write a 1-sentence summary of this paragraph. So a lot of the students that come here, and not the ones struggling in writing, but the ones struggling in the reading section, because summarize written text gives you marks in reading as well. So a lot of people here believe that they're going to come here and they can still just select 1 sentence in the beginning and 1 sentence in the middle or in the end of the text, and connect it with the word and get full marks, right? Guys, it used to work. Maybe I can still get 79 plus in the reading section if my blanks are good, my read aloud is good, my reorders are good, and my summarized written texts are not that great. But think logically. You got a text that's up to 300 words, and you're picking 2 random sentences, copying them word for word, and just putting the word and in between. Do you think these guys were born yesterday? Do you think all the thousands and millions of dollars people spend on the exams that go into developing the test and the test is going to be the same? Their system is getting smarter. Just connecting 2 points with and putting a full stop is not going to get you full marks. Maybe sometimes you'll get away with it because you get lucky and you pick the important points, or the text is easy, you can manage. But if you got a more complex summary, right? And they talk about something in a lot of depth, and you pick in two random sentences, it's like closing your eyes, you know, and shooting darts at the wall. Like, come on, use some common sense. And the last one for the writing section that annoys me a lot. So you guys know in your score report, you got a section at the bottom that says written discourse. Written discourse mostly comes from your essay. Now, I want you to take a look at your previous scores. If you've given the exam multiple times, and if you downloaded a format from the internet, if you got it from a Facebook group, if you got it through a Telegram or WhatsApp group, okay? And tell me what's the written discourse. If it's always 90, 90, 90, 90, good. You don't need to, you can skip this part, just go to the next part. But if it's fluctuating up or down, or it's less than 70, less than 60, and it's going up and down all the time, you need to question whether the format you're using is right or not. Again, Pearson, they were not born yesterday. They're a big business. They got a lot of developers, a lot of academics that go into researching and improving the exam, right? So a lot of people use formats that have been around on the internet for like years. Sometimes students come to us and they show me the format they're using, and it's the format that we actually designed like 4 years back or 3 years back, you know, because they got it from a cousin, from a brother, from somebody online. The thing is, that format has been used by thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, right? So obviously they're gonna look at that format, it gets flagged. If their format has been used like a lot of times, it's gonna get flagged. So all the time, every 6 to 8 months, we make new formats, right? Because we cannot give you the same material expecting you're going to get better and better results, because they're upgrading, right? So we need to upgrade as well. So if you got a written discourse that fluctuates up and down all the time, make sure you're not using one of those formats that's generic, that everybody downloads from YouTube or from WhatsApp and is using the same one. Even use some of the words, you know, don't just go one of the most conspicuous concerns in the last few years and keep recycling the same thing, right? Maybe take a few sentences, take the structure, but modify it in your own way. So that part is okay. The next thing is for the reading section. So those of you guys that have been around for PTE for a while, you've been giving the exam for more than 6 months, more than 7 months, more than 8 months, you know there's a lot of practice material. There are a lot of repeated questions. You can buy the question banks, you can get them in institutes, you can go to different websites. Anyways, a lot of people, it's a commodity. The reading questions, anybody can get them. You can get them for free in a lot of places. What really annoys me is whenever people come to me and they say, Alex, sir, you know, I memorized 400 fill in the blanks. Can I get 79? Right? And believe me, like some people have really good memory. Last week we had one Chinese guy who passed the exam. And whenever I showed him a question, he can do it. You know, he can do the fill in the blanks in like 4 seconds because he's practiced a lot of them. I have a lot of boys and girls from Punjab, and they're really good at cramming, and they like know 400 questions by heart. They see the first sentence of the paragraph, they already know the answers. They don't even need to look at the options. But the reality is not everybody, you know, thinks that way. Not everybody has the memory or the capacity to memorize all these questions. And the thing is, I had a few students, I had a few girls, they memorized like 300 blanks, because back then it was not as many. And the issue is, whenever they got a lot of questions repeated, they would get 77, 78, 75. Whenever they got few questions repeated, they'd be in the 60s. So that's a big fluctuation. That's a big jump up and down, and they still couldn't crack 79 plus because they're lacking from the other sections, or when the question was new, like they were lost. So guys, I don't care from where you practice. You practice from this website, from that website, from this question bank, you will not get 100% of the questions repeated on the test. Not anymore. It's not the reality. Maybe if you're lucky, you get 6, 7 blanks out of 9. Maybe if you're really lucky, you get 8 out of 10, but you will get new questions. If you're unlucky, you just get 1 or 2 or 3, right? You will get repeated, but not everything. So the thing is, you need to understand the logic. If I get this question and they change the blanks or the vocabulary is different, how can I still do it? So you need to understand the grammar rules, the shortcuts, the logic. For example, if I have the word and, whatever comes before and afterwards have to be similar. Regardless of the words, regardless of the tense, I know those shortcuts, right? So it's easy for me to do it if I see a new question. So same thing goes for you. You need to understand logically how to do it. The shortcuts, the grammar, the tricks. Don't just rely on your memory, because most people, they cannot memorize. And the last thing for the listening section. So again, I had one couple that came to us today for enrollment, okay? And they asked us, can you explain to us how you teach Summarize spoken text? Because I said, I went to the previous coaching institute. They gave me 70 SSTs, Summarize Spoken Text. They gave me the final answer. They said, cram. So they said, I came to class in the morning and they gave me, like the stack of 20 pages and they said, start memorizing, So like when I hear this, I want to punch in the face whoever is teaching this way, because it's a disgrace to us, because I feel like other people will come to us, they'll think we do things the same way. It's like almost putting down the teachers, because what kind of way is it to teach somebody to say, memorize these 100 paragraphs, right? So let's go back to Summarize Spoken Text. Let's say I'm giving you 60, 70 paragraphs to memorize by heart. And what they tell you is this: if you hear they mention the name Mary Mellon in the first sentence of the audio, don't take notes, ignore the audio, start typing the summary that you memorized word for word, right? What do you guys need to realize? 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago, this used to work. A year and a half ago, there was only 40 summarized spoken texts. You can do all of them in class. You get all of them repeated on the exam. Then they doubled. Then they doubled more than 80. Okay, now it's more than 100. It's about 120 summaries. The thing is, no normal human being can memorize 120 summarized spoken text by heart, word for word, with the spelling, with all the vocabulary in that sequence, which is also important, right? So you need to be able to do it regardless of the question. One thing, your listening skill may be better, maybe worse, but you still need to know how to take notes, how to make a proper sentence, which content is important, which content to leave out. You need to learn how to do this thing. You need to learn the basics, right? And what they did specifically, you will notice now a lot of the audios in the exam have more than one or more than two versions. So Mary Mellon, one of the audios tells you she's from Ireland and she infected 50 people. The other one says she's from Mexico, she infected 37 people. Globalization, it has different versions. Vitamin D has different versions. Indian farmers, so a lot of those audios have different versions. So it's easy for Pearson to catch you. You're writing that Mary Mellon is from Mexico and she killed 75 people and she infected 100 people. But the content in that version is different. They catch you. You're done, right? So guys, use your common sense, right? So use your best judgment. See what's authentic, what's not authentic. A lot of you guys sitting behind the camera, as audience, we're not stupid. And I'm sorry I keep using this word a lot. So use your common sense. Is this person telling me, is it relevant? Did I check it? Did I get this in my exam? Is it applicable? Does it make sense? Because if somebody tells you to say, this is a beautiful image, it's got red, blue, yellow color, yellow is my favorite color, I have 25 seconds to speak about this image, it's very informative and it's very beautiful, click next after 25 seconds. Come on. It doesn't make any sense. So anyways, take this, and before you sign off, make sure you like this right now. Make sure you subscribe if you want some fire in your mailbox, if you want some really good videos and up-to-date tricks and materials and so on. Because you guys see, we're not running ads on these videos. So if you leave a comment, you don't leave a comment, we don't get any benefit out of this. It takes time for us to do. We try to give you guys the most value. And check the comments. We get a lot of positive comments. You guys don't realize the amount of value, the amount of advice we give in the comment section. So you'll see a lot of these questions come repeated. A lot of this advice is not made up by me to just get more views on YouTube and get more likes and run more ads. Just use your best judgment, and good luck on your exam. If you have any questions, let us know. But subscribe right now. Do it. See you guys later.